In the 13th century, on the coast of Odisha, India, King Narasimhadeva I secured a string of military victories. To commemorate his triumphs, he ordered the construction of a sprawling monument dedicated to Surya, the Hindu sun god. He envisioned a structure that functioned as a gargantuan stone chariot, built to physically pull the sun across the sky. To execute this design, builders carved 24 of these massive, highly intricate stone wheels along the nace. 1,200 artisans spent years chiseling these complex geometric patterns directly out of solid rock, turning massive boulders into delicate spokes and medallions. At the front of the temple, they positioned 7 colossal stone horses, sculpted in mid-stride to visually haul the entire structure forward. This diagram illustrates the project's primary engineering hurdle. To complete the monument, the builders had to erect the Vimana, a main tower standing 229 feet tall. But they were building on a foundation of loose, shifting coastal sand. At 229 feet, the Vimana was one of the tallest structures on Earth, yet it rested entirely on the beach. By choosing this location, the designers were attempting to override the natural limitations of the environment. Completing that main tower became a crisis. According to local legend, the chief architect's 12-year-old son, Dharmabhata, finally solved the mathematical puzzle required to place the massive crowning stone at the very top. But the king had threatened to execute the entire crew if they failed to finish on time. To protect his father and the other artisans from the king's wrath over a child solving their problem, Dharmabhata leaped from the completed tower to his death. Regardless of the myth, the finished temple dominated the coastline. Its dark stone tower loomed so large over the Bay of Bengal that centuries later, European sailors used it as a navigational landmark, dubbing it the Black Pagoda. Inside that dark tower was an even greater mystery. The most famous legend states that a massive idol of the sun god hovered entirely in mid-air above the central altar. As we can see in this cross-section diagram, the idol is suspended by invisible forces pulling from the top and side walls. Builders reportedly achieved this suspension through a precise arrangement of giant magnetic lodestones built directly into the iron-bound architecture, creating a magnetic field strong enough to hold the idol in place. Then the tower fell. The magnificent 229-foot structure suffered a sudden, devastating collapse, reducing the towering peak to a mountain of shattered stone. How such an immense structure fell remains heavily debated. One historical theory points to deliberate destruction by the invading general Kalapahad in the 16th century. Another popular story claims that Portuguese sailors removed the crowning magnetic lodestone because it was disrupting their ship compasses. Without that central magnet, the iron-supported walls supposedly lost their tension and crumbled. This structural analysis shows the most likely scientific reality. The sheer, immense weight of the towering stone structure simply overpowered its own foundation. The soft coastal soil shifted, causing the base to crack and give way under the downward force. Whether it was brought down by mythic curses, foreign invaders, or simple gravity, the towering achievement of 13th century India instantly became a massive field of rubble, which leads us to a strange reality about the site today. Millions of tourists photograph this massive stepped structure, assuming they are looking at the Grand Konark Sun Temple, but they aren't. This surviving building is just the Jagamohana, the front audience hall or porch. The main tower that once stood directly behind it is completely gone. Even this remaining porch nearly didn't survive. By the early 20th century, its walls were buckling, and it was on the verge of suffering the same structural collapse as the main tower. This 3D cutaway reveals a desperate 1903 British conservation method. They drilled through the roof and poured sand straight down, filling the interior. This sand block supports the roof, but permanently sealed the doors, trading the interior forever for the building's survival. Because of that seal, the thousands of incredibly intricate carvings covering the outer walls are all we have left to interact with. The Konark Sun Temple did not achieve eternal permanence. Instead, its broken stone remains force us to stand on the sand, look up at a sealed wall, And imagine the sheer scale of human ambition at its absolute peak.